Hello all, today I'm taking a look at Village Rails and this 2 to 4 player game sees you developing your track, completing trips. And first impressions, I was like, this seems okay. But once you crack open this tiny little box here, there is lots going on, folks. So I'll pop the designer and the publisher over in the description. And this one should take you in the region of sort of 45 minutes, maybe up to an hour if you're all sort of APing it and thinking hard. So what have we got then? You'll start off with one of these sort of player boards and they sort of come together. You've got A's all the way up to C. A will be the starting player. And you can see you put these together and you've got different terrains on each one. So you can see you've got sort of 5 types here. You've got fields, forests, lakes, pastures, and villages. And you have to just kind of keep an eye out for these little symbols here that are kind of hiding around. So you've got some starting scenarios as such, some landscape there. Now over here, you've got this deck of either tracks on one side here. You can see there's loads. And on the other side, you've got the trips. So I like how they're sort of dual use. And you're going to lay out 7 and 4 of the trips there. Now, just out of camera view, you have got a sort of score tracker here, start on 0. You've got 5 money, and you've got 3 of these terminus cards, which you keep secret, and these are something to aim for. Overview cards are quite nice as well, remind you how to score and end game as well, and keep an eye on those different landscapes. So we are aiming on our turn to acquire these cards here and add them to our little area, and we're developing our track hoping to complete lines and score at the right time. There's loads of juicy things you can score here. Now you have to take one of these. This one at the bottom is 0 cost, but each one you want to take after that, let's say you want to go for this one, you have to put a coin on each previous landscape. So if I really want one of these higher up, I can take this one here and I'm about to pay a coin for each of those. And all these kind of get shuffled down and you replenish from the top. Now, let's say another player goes and they're like, right, I really want this one here. They would take that one. Well, they have to put a coin on first. So let's say they put their own coin here and they take this one and they take any money on it as well. And then again, these all sort of get shuffled down. So this is how you are taking a track. Now, equally on your turn, you may take one of these trips either before or after you've taken your track. And these just cost free money. You pay that to supply and you take whichever one you want. There's no particular order as to shuffling them down and you just bring a new one out. And these are going to sort of hover around the sides, which I'll go through. So that's the first thing you've done. You have to take a track and you may take a trip. So what you're going to do with these then? So your track, and you can place these in any order, because if you complete something before you've placed a trip, well, you're not going to have a chance to then complete the trip. So these are going to have to go adjacent to one of these. You can't just plonk it in the middle. And as you gradually develop your network, you can see you go adjacent as well. So we can pretty much go anywhere we want. But what are we trying to achieve? Well, you can see on your scoring sort of overview card here, you're going to score points for having these symbols. So you can see 2 points here, but not just yet. Is when you completed a line from one of these connections to one of these angles here. You've got things that will give you points for these indicated terrain types. So this one here, depending on how many of those certain types of landscapes I've got, in this case cattle, then you're going to score points for that. But for now, you place it down. You then decide to put your trip somewhere. So you can put it at the top next to one of these sort of 3 columns here, and you've got 4 rows here. Now that is going to trigger when your rail has been completed, the rail line. So let's say we put it here for now, and it says only straight tracks on the line. So I'm hoping to make a straight track here. Once I get to the end, I will score up those. So once you place down, the next player goes, and they're equally like, right, I want to go for this one here. So they're going to take that one, shuffle them all down. There was no money on it. And then are they going to buy a trip? No, maybe they're passing this time. And again, they would locate that on their board. And you're pretty much just going to keep going. Now, let's just grab a few of these and show you what you can do then. So let's just say we have done something like this. Now you can have up to 2 trips per line. So you can see 2 here, 2 at the top. So maybe you'd had, bought some of these and these are all replenished. Now, once a line has completed, because it's hit the side here, you can see it goes from this blue water space all the way over, we've completed it. What do you do then? So you're going to score it firstly, you're going to look at your trips. So we've got 2 points per completed line, excluding this one. Well, we haven't got any lines, so this is sort of one we want for closer to the end when we've maybe completed 5 of the 7 rail lines, and we're scoring loads of points for that. So that's kind of irrelevant for now. Only straight tracks on this line. Well, we have got a straight track, so that is 6 points. So we literally get our little tracker here and add 6 points, done. Now we actually look at the line itself. So we've got 2 points here, boom, we add that on. We're going along. This one is going to score us 1 point for each landscape that has this sort of cattle symbol. So we've got 1, 2, so 2 points. We're going along and that is it. You've scored your points. You'll then take these off for that particular track and just pop those in the discard or under the stack there. And you will bring one of your terminus cards. So you start with 3 of these and you're going to pick one to sort of terminate that line as such, but you're going to score some money, and this is how you generate your money mainly, other than money that's on these cards that other players have left. And you need money because you want the better cards from up here, and you want to buy these trips to score you those points, and they're 3 to 1 at the end for money into victory points as well. So what have we got then? The number of these little symbols on the line, we've only got 1, so that would be 4 money here. And you can see the more you get, the more money. If we played this one, the number of villages, well, we got no villages, so I don't want to do that one. And the number of forests, we got no forests on there either. So the good thing about these terminus cards is you can play them even if you've got 0, which means you're still getting free money. So if you're really struggling to get money, it's sort of a bit of a catch up. It just helps you get something to keep you going. So when you pick one of these, you'll score your money based on that, take that from the supply and pop it where the line has been terminated. So now you know you're not going to accidentally put any more of these on here because the line's already completed. So as you go through the game, you know, you've placed your card, you bought your trip there, goes to the next player, and then goes to the next player. It just keeps going around, and everyone is eventually going to have 12 of these landscape cards here. So let's just see what we can try and do here. Okay, so we've got a variety, and it is such a crunchy decision as to which landscapes to place where, when you want to trigger them because you want to activate these, which trips you're going to invest that free money, because that free money could be vital in getting the relative ones you want here. So let's just randomly put these down so you can see this trip is completed here, and we're going to get 5 points. And this little symbol is a station. So every station you've got, cumulatively, you see how many. 1 in this case is scoring is 0 points. But if we had up to 3 of them, so maybe this route here when it completes had 3, you're going to get 16 points. 4 plus is 24 points. So there's loads of points if you manage to get all these stations out, and you're scoring that mid-game. You can see we've already done the victory point 1, that's easy enough. You're getting 1 point per indicated terrain type from these little barns. So this one here, when that completes, so let's go and just chuck these down. What I really like is these, you don't really have to think too hard. They just kind of figure themselves out, and they always go downwards and across. Now you can't obviously do this, they always have to be at 180 degrees. So eventually then, where's this line going to? Let's say this one. I'm going to score this route here, and I'm going to get, well, we've got a barn, so 1 point for each grain. So we've got 1, 2 points for that, 3 points for this. We've got another grain, so we're getting another 2 points for that, and 5 points here. And then you do your terminus and any trips. So let me just grab a few more cards. So as you're going along, you're scoring these completed journeys, and eventually it will look something like this. So you've got these little tractors as well, and these score you for each different terrain type. So if we follow this one along, you can see we've got the pastures there, 1, we've got a forest for 2, another pastures, and a grain. So we've got 3 different terrains. That is scoring as 3 points for the tractor, or different terrain type. We've also got an end game, which is the sort of sidelings they're known as, and that is these purple ones here. So they're unique to each track. So you can see this track here has got 1 on, that's 1. We've got this track, that's 2. This track here is 3. If you had multiples on one track, you only count the 1 because it's 1 per track. And then depending on how many you've attained, it's a square root. So 6 of them is going to be 36 points at the end of the game. You're also going to add on your money 3 to 1 and see who, well, money 3 to 1 to victory points, see who has the most victory points. Now, it looks on the surface like you're just playing these cards down and, oh, I've scored a few points, but the decision process here, folks, as you like watching your opponent grabbing the cards you want, and then you have to readjust your tactics and strategies to how I'm going to manipulate this to get the most. And you can see one of your opponents is maybe going for all out on these purple ones or the stations, and you can't have that. So you want to take that before them, but then what are you going to do with that card? And equally, there's only so many of these trips out, and obviously they get replenished, but they're quite well, not pricey, but it's a small investment to make, but you can make a lot of points. And then which terminus is. So you've got this sort of three-layered structure, how you're building a landscape, how you're developing those trips, and then which terminus is. Because if you can get one of these and get to the bottom and get 8 money, that really escalates your game. Not only is it 3-1 on the victory points, but it's giving you the opportunities to get something before your opponents. So lots of little things to like here, folks. A really small box as well, you can see. Look at it, it's tiny, and you're getting a lot of game in this for that. There we are, enjoy.